For rupees 2,11,600 ex-showroom here in the Indian market. This is the latest adventure motorcycle that your money can get you. This is the 2022 Suzuki V-Strom SX. ये एक 250cc class adventure motorcycle है and this bike shares a lot with the other Gixxer siblings in the 250cc category from Suzuki. It shares the same engine, it shares the same gearing and overall riding nature is very similar. But that is not a bad thing because both of those two motorcycles were very good in the engine performance department. इस वीडियो में हम बात करने वाले हैं इस बाइक के राइड एंड हैंडलिंग पैकेज के बारे में. How well does this engine performs in this adventure category? Is this motorcycle touring friendly? Is this motorcycle off-road friendly? And can you go out on that long tour and stay happy on the saddle of this Suzuki V-Strom SX? चलिए सभी चीज़ों के बारे में बात कर लेते हैं, but before that, let's talk about the numbers. ये जो Suzuki V-Strom SX है, this 250cc मोटरसाइकिल, इसके साथ आपको एक 249cc 4-स्ट्रोक सिंगल सिलेंडर ऑयल कूल्ड SOHC मोटर मिल जाता है. It produces 26.5 PS of power at 9,300 RPM and a max torque of 22.2 Newton meters at 7,300 RPM. इस बाइक के साथ आपको एक 6-स्पीड गियरबॉक्स दिया गया है, but you do not get a slip and assist clutch. The curb weight is 167 kgs. You get 12 liters of fuel tank capacity. Seat height is 835 millimeters and you get 205 millimeters of ground clearance. So all of these numbers do tell you that this is a road focused touring machine and not really an all-out off-road friendly tool. But still it has some mild off-road capabilities. It can take you through your favorite trail and it can also bring you back if you are a skilled rider. Now let's check out how all of this comes together and how good this motorcycle rides out on the Indian streets, because that in itself is quite an adventure. So guys, now let's start riding. You know the numbers: 26.5 PS of power, 22.2 Newton meters of torque, 167 kg curb weight and 205 mm of ground clearance. Let's find out if this Suzuki V-Strom is any good of an adventure motorcycle. Let's start riding. First, we are just going to ride a little bit off the road, and this is very comfortable, by the way. इस बाइक के साथ आपको जो MRF के टायर्स दिए गए हैं, they will offer you very good grip. Okay, this is the first time that I am riding this bike on such terrain and आपको बिल्कुल भी ग्रिप के मामले में कोई दिक्कत नहीं होगी. And overall to ride it feels very nice and linear. और जो ग्राउंड क्लियरेंस आपको मिल रहा है इस बाइक के साथ, इट इज़ वेरी गुड. सो एक भी बार इस बाइक की जो अंडर बेली है, इट डिड नॉट स्क्रैप. सो चेक दिस आउट. रियली बैड roads over here right now. Actually no roads. This is an under construction site around Navi Mumbai and very easy to manage this motorcycle. अगर आप ये बाइक खरीदने वाले हो, let me tell you, this should be your commuter motorcycle. Your focus should be commuting and not really off-roading, because this is not an all-out adventure motorcycle. लेकिन अगर आप कच्ची सड़कों पे इस बाइक को चलाना चाहते हो, if you want to go out on your weekend rides and if you want to encounter some trails, ये बाइक जो है it will be sufficiently capable and it will not let you down. Of course, अगर आप बहुत ज़्यादा slushy roads पे इस बाइक को चलाने वाले हो, if there is a lot of wet condition where you are riding this bike, तभी ये जो dual purpose tires हैं, they might lack the grip that you might need. But then if you slap more off-road focused tires, तभी ये बाइक उस सिचुएशन को भी हैंडल कर लेगी, बिकॉज ओवरऑल जो engine performance है, it is very easy to understand और ये जो बाइक है, although this is an adventure bike, it is not too heavy, it is not too intimidating, so it will be very easy to manage. So you don't have to fight the bike too much. And check this out, अगर आप इस तरह से किसी ditch में से इस बाइक को चला लेते हो, no problem, and when you want to very quickly maneuver it, you will again find no problems at all, and there is no difficulty getting this bike out of any tricky situation. Check this out, अगर आप किसी remote area में इस बाइक को चलाने वाले हो, look at the road condition. It is completely broken. This Suzuki V-Strom SX, it is doing a fine job of keeping me comfortable and tackling this terrain situation. No hesitation, and it is not at all scary. I'm staying in second gear and there is decent amount of torque available to keep me going. And if you want, you can ride a little fast as well if you have started to understand your motorcycle better. So, you know, off-roading with this bike is something that is possible depending on your rider skill. अगर आप capable हो तो ये बाइक भी capable है. But if you are just learning the tricks of the trade to ride off-road, this should be a good beginner bike. And later maybe you can upgrade to something more off-road focused, more off-road biased. But as a primary commuter bike with good performance and grunt, this motorcycle also has more than enough off-road credentials. आप इंटरनेट पे काफ़ी सारे वीडियोस देख लोगे जहाँ पे ये कहा जाएगा that don't take this off-roading and you can't do anything with this bike. None of that is true. You can find people riding scooters on trails, and those villagers find no problem at all with their scooter with those small tires. So just because this has a 19-inch front wheel, and since it has alloy wheels, it doesn't limit any specific ability of this bike as long as it is within your capabilities. So keep that in mind, guys. अगर आप ये Suzuki V-Strom SX खरीदना चाहते हो, check this out, carrying a little extra speed over this broken terrain, and this bike does a decent job, and there is not too much of a rattle that I can hear. So parts की fit and finish जो है वो भी काफ़ी decent है, and the bike is not feeling stressed, so it will last the distance. अगर आप इस तरीके के रास्तों पे से भी इस बाइक को चलाने वाले हो throughout your ownership cycle. So that was a very quick off-road kind of an experience. Of course you can do much more, but today we don't really have any trail nearby, and we have to return this bike to Suzuki soon, so that off-road experience is not going to be possible. That hardcore off-road experience is not going to be possible. Now let's talk about the most important bit. अगर आप ये Suzuki की V-Strom SX खरीदने वाले हो, if you are buying it for touring, let me tell you, this is a fantastic product, and this is going to keep you very, very happy in your ownership cycle. Now the numbers, they are not really exciting. They are not really setting that brochure on fire, are they? It just has 26.5 PS. Torque is 22.2 Newton meters. And it might not be an exciting motorcycle to ride. Engine जो है वो KTM जितनी manic नहीं है, but that is actually a good thing, isn't it? This motorcycle is completely at home and at ease inside the city, even at low speeds, and even out on the highway when you want to stretch its legs. ये बाइक जो है काफ़ी composed और mature तरीके से चलती है, and because of that it is going to be a very good highway mile muncher. Right now we are going to focus on the highway riding abilities of this Suzuki V-Strom SX.
सबसे पहले तो ये जो मिरर्स हैं इस बाइक के, you can adjust them very easily, but I wish that the mirror stalks were a little longer and a little taller so that you got a better view of what is approaching you from behind. As it is not bad, but it could have definitely been better. अगला पॉइंट जो टूरिंग करते समय सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट है, दैट इज़ ergonomics and comfort. इस बाइक की जो सीट है, it is super spacious, it is very well padded and it is very very comfortable. Compared to my own personal KTM 390 Adventure, इस बाइक की जो सीट है, it is very couch like, and oh my god, I have had a fantastic experience on this bike. I have had this motorcycle with me for 2 days. Today it is a nice and sunny day around Mumbai, so we have gotten a chance to experience this motorcycle out on the highway, and on this seat I can spend really long hours. अगर आप बॉम्बे टू गोवा इस बाइक को लेके राइड पे जाना चाहते हो, you will not be tired at all. Complementing the seat is the upright riding posture. फुट पेग्स जो हैं वो माइल्डली रियर सेट हैं. कंपेयर टू द जिक्सर सिबलिंग्स, फुट पेग्स जो हैं वो थोड़े आगे पोजीशन किए गए हैं, बट दे आर स्टिल नॉट सेंटर सेट, दे आर स्टिल माइल्डली रियर सेट. बिकॉज ऑफ दैट यू गेट अ स्लाइटली स्पोर्टी राइडिंग स्टांस, but your upper body is completely upright. The handlebar is nice and wide and it is pulled back towards you, so आपको ज़्यादा आगे झुकना नहीं होता है, and because of that your back is stress free. आपको बैक पेन बिल्कुल भी फील नहीं होगा, and overall this is a very very comfortable place to be. So as a touring package, the ergonomics are spot on and everything falls in your hand very easily. So the levers for your clutch and for your brake, and even the brake and gear lever for your feet, everything is spot on. The only ergonomic problem is that when you have your right foot on your right hand side foot peg, of course, your shoe is going to hit the exhaust, and then throughout your ownership cycle maybe the exhaust end can shows some amount of fading, some amount of paint fading because of that shoe rubbing on the exhaust pipe. So that is a finer detail which I want to share with you guys. The next fantastic feature on this motorcycle for touring is this speedometer cluster. अभी यहाँ पे आपको distance to empty तो नहीं दिया गया है, but you have a lot of information. Now on this digital display you can notice that you get a gear position indicator, you get a digital tachometer, you get a digital speed readout, you have a digital fuel gauge, you have a digital clock, and you have 2 trip meters, 1 odometer. दोनों ही ट्रिप सेटिंग्स के लिए आपको एवरेज फ्यूल इकोनॉमी दिखाई देगी. You have your instantaneous fuel economy displayed, you have your battery charge indicator over there, and you also have this smartphone connectivity which shows you turn by turn navigation. Turn by turn navigation is good in terms of its response and functionality and how it very quickly reroutes, and you have to make use of the Suzuki app to make use of this turn by turn navigation. It is just that the display information, the text is a little cluttered and it could have been better, but otherwise in terms of functionality and ease of use it is very very good. कल मैं सबसे पहली बार इस बाइक के साथ अपना फ़ोन पेयर कर रहा था, and it took me barely 2 to 3 minutes to do it, and there was absolutely no niggles that I noticed, and this system works very well. आपके पास एंड्रॉयड फ़ोन हो या एप्पल iOS वाला फ़ोन हो, this will work without any problems. Now the next point which I want to talk about for your highway touring abilities is the stability of this motorcycle. इस बाइक का व्हील बेस बढ़ चुका है. 19 इंच का फ्रंट व्हील आपको इस बाइक के साथ मिलता है और 17 इंच का रियर व्हील आपको दिया गया है. ओवरऑल हाईवे स्टेबिलिटी जो है वो काफ़ी अच्छी है, एंड इट फील्स नाइस एंड प्लांटेड. राइट नाउ आई एम एट 80 to 90 किलोमीटर्स पर आवर, एंड दिस सुजुकी V-Strom फील्स वेरी श्योर फुटेड. मुझे बिल्कुल भी नर्वसनेस फील नहीं हो रहा है, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट I can very happily play around with this bike, and even if दिस इज़ योर फर्स्ट बिग बाइक. अगर से फॉर एग्जांपल इसके पहले आपके पास कोई स्कूटर थी या आपके पास कोई 100cc या 150cc क्लास बाइक थी, एंड इफ दिस इज़ गोइंग टू बी योर नेक्स्ट बिग परचेस, you will find it very easy to understand this motorcycle, and just within a few days of ownership you will be able to exploit the most out of this package. And out on the highway, like I am right now riding it, it is a very effortless motorcycle to manage. Changing directions, switching lanes, no problem at all. It moves from left to right rather quickly for an adventure bike. And let me tell you guys, this is a very easy motorcycle to ride. Check this out. If you have to make very quick lane changes, it swings from left to right effortlessly, और आपको ज़्यादा मेहनत नहीं करनी होती है. You don't have to fight the weight of this motorcycle too much. 167 kg का curb weight है, and you barely feel it when you are on the move. So that also works in the favor of this Suzuki V-Strom SX 250cc class motorcycle. The only negative is that the 835 mm seat height can scare a few shorter riders. मेरी height है 5 feet 8 inches, and even for me, I did not have my feet flat on the ground, but I was not tiptoeing to a scary extent. I could still control this bike very easily. तो अगर आपकी हाइट 5 feet 5 से थोड़ी कम है, then this seat height might be a bit too much for you. लेकिन Suzuki आपको एक लो सीट हाइट एक्सेसरी ऑप्शन ऑफर कर रहे हैं, so you can choose that if you wish to. The next important point for highway touring is this windscreen. आपको एक क्लियर लेंस विंडस्क्रीन इस बाइक के साथ मिल जाती है, which is not height adjustable. ये इसका फिक्स्ड लॉकिंग पोजीशन है, and it is almost at my shoulder height, a little below my shoulder height when I am seated upright on this motorcycle. In terms of wind protection, it will do a decent job, say for example up to 100 kilometers per hour. After that आपको थोड़ी बहुत wind buffeting ज़रूर feel होगी, but then that is typical of such a motorcycle format. Also because you are seated upright, आपको wind blast ज़रूर feel होगा. इस बाइक के साथ आपको ये जो नकल गार्ड्स दिए गए हैं, they will also offer some amount of wind protection and element protection. जब आप इस बाइक को हाईवेज पे चला लोगे या आप ट्रेल्स पे इस बाइक को चला लोगे, so there won't be any pebbles which might be kicked up from the vehicle in front of you, and they won't hurt your fingers or knuckles. And also on a cold day you will have that weather protection too. Now if you want to take this bike out on the highway, you want to know the range, right? इस बाइक के साथ आपको एक 12 लीटर का फ्यूल टैंक मिल जाता है, which is small in my books. It should have had at least 14 to 15 liters of tank capacity, but then the mileage is quite respectable. ये जो V-Strom SX है, it has been delivering over 38 kmpl. Like you can see, 38.1 का माइलेज मुझे मिल रहा है इस बाइक पे. So do the math, multiply 38 with 12. That is the tank range that you can expect from this adventure tourer. Overall, it is going to be economical, and it is a very easy bike. It is a very effortless motorcycle. It is not exciting, yes, but then vanilla is still a very well accepted ice cream flavor, isn't it? This Suzuki V-Strom is the vanilla in this adventure touring category, in this 250cc class. Next, we are going to pull over to the shoulder, and now we are going to focus on the engine and performance. And I'm going to sprint from a standstill so that you can understand how fast this bike can pick up pace and what is the top speed that you can achieve with this Suzuki V-Strom SX. इस बाइक के साथ आपको एक सिंगल सिलेंडर इंजन मिल रही है और आपको एक 6 स्पीड का गियर बॉक्स मिल रहा है. And this motor, by the way, is oil cooled, not liquid cooled. So coming to a halt, no riding modes, no traction control, no switchable ABS, dual channel ABS as standard, no ride by wire either. So in 3, 2, 1. Oops. some amount of wheel spin because I was on a gravel patch. So that is something that you should keep in mind. Remember, इस बाइक के साथ traction control आपको नहीं मिल रहा है. At a standstill again, and now in 3, 2, 1. We're going to cross a bridge, so the acceleration might not be completely true to this motor's ability, but still on the downhill patch we will get good assistance for a top speed whack. So let's check it out. मेरी हाइट है 5 feet 8 inches and I weigh 79 kilograms. Keep looking at the speedometer cluster. So crossing 130 is fairly easy, and today morning when I was trying a top speed run, this motorcycle managed over 140 kilometers per hour. I did 143, but that was on a really long stretch of road. अगर आप हाईवे टूरिंग के टाइम इस बाइक को पुश करना चाहते हो, you can easily get 100 to 120 kmph of good easy cruising speed. You can pick up more pace if you like, but then you are pushing the engine a bit too much to get closer to 150 kmph if you wish to. Can it do 150? I don't know. If you are a lighter rider and if you get a safe chance to do it and try it, let us know if that number is something that this motor can achieve. Let me tell you, out on the highway, this engine is a charm. It is very, very smooth. It is very, very refined. Refinement levels काफ़ी अच्छे हैं. And right now, have a look at this. I am at 70 kilometers per hour in 6th gear. The engine feels so comfortable. It feels so easy. बिल्कुल भी buzz नहीं है, बिल्कुल भी vibration नहीं है. And I can ride this bike at 70 kmph for like 24 hours if I wish to. Absolutely no stress. If I move to 80 kilometers per hour and above, close to 90 kilometers per hour also, there is barely any vibration. There is very mild pulsation that you will notice on the pegs, but it is not at all uncomfortable. It is not even a point to talk about. It is that mild. The refinement of this engine is fantastic. And even when you are idling, when you are at a standstill, there is no noise that makes you feel that this is an unrefined motor. I'm going to stop one more time at a standstill, and now in 3, 2, 1, keep looking at the speedometer cluster. Picking up pace very quickly. There was a jump, still very comfortable, no problems at all. Stability is really, really good. And when you tuck in a little, ये windscreen जो है आपको थोड़ा बहुत wind protection offer करेगी to achieve that higher speed. And as you could notice, it very easily manages over 130 kilometers per hour. And when you are dragging lesser weight, 140 is going to be an easy task. Gearbox जो है वो काफ़ी smooth है, काफ़ी slick है, and shifting gears is also effortless. Clutch action जो है वो भी काफ़ी light है. तो शहरों में इस बाइक को चलाते समय या हाईवे पे टूरिंग करते समय आपको क्लच ऑपरेट करने के लिए ज़्यादा मेहनत, ज़्यादा मशक्क़त नहीं करनी पड़ती है. सो योर लेफ्ट हैंड फिंगर्स आर नॉट गोइंग टू बी स्ट्रेस्ड. ऑफ कोर्स अगर एक स्लिपर असिस्ट क्लच आपको इस बाइक के साथ मिल जाता, इट वुड हैव जस्ट स्वीटेंड द डील, बट यू आर नॉट गेटिंग इट, सो you can't do anything about it. You might have noticed that the turn-by-turn navigation is working flawlessly. If I make any wrong turns, it reroutes very quickly. मैप आपको रीरूट कर रही है, इसका नोटिफिकेशन भी आपको यहाँ पे नज़र आता है. एंड इफ़ यू आर यूजिंग द ऐप, you can set a top speed warning, an alert, and check this out, you can read it. It will give you a speed exceeding warning on the speedometer cluster, so that you ride slowly and you ride safely. So that is also a good safety feature to have on this V-Strom SX. Overall, coming back to the engine point, when you are riding this bike really hard, over 8000 RPM, very mild buzz, very mild buzz, but that is felt only on the pegs, not on the handlebar, not on the seat. So refinement is top class on this motorcycle, and long touring hence is going to be effortless. Now let's talk about the tires. MRF के जो टायर्स आपको इस बाइक के साथ मिल रहे हैं, they are dual purpose, but they are not too noisy, okay? They offer you very good grip as per segment standard, and even if you tip this bike into corners, टायर जो हैं आपको काफ़ी कॉन्फिडेंस इंस्पायरिंग ग्रिप ऑफर करते हैं. सो बिकॉज ऑफ दैट यू कैन रियली पुश दिस बाइक, यू कैन रियली हसल दिस मोटरसाइकिल, एंड इट विल बी अ रिवॉर्डिंग एक्सपीरियंस. आपको टायर्स के मामले में ज़्यादा नर्वसनेस फील नहीं होगा. एंड इवन व्हेन आई वाज राइडिंग इट ऑन ब्रोकन रोड्स, ऑन दैट ऑफ रोड ट्रेल काइंड ऑफ अ रूट बिफोर when we started this video, even in that situation the tires were doing a fine job, so no complaints. Yesterday it was drizzling here in Mumbai, और तभी भी ये जो टायर्स हैं they offered me enough grip. Of course अगर traction control आपको इस बाइक के साथ मिल जाता, it would have just sweetened the deal, and also if we had switchable ABS, it would have just been a better feature to have, especially when you go out of roading, so that you can lock that rear wheel and slow down this motorcycle and slide it when you want to. Next, let's talk about the braking performance. Dual channel ABS मिलता है आपको as standard. The braking feel, feedback and bite is acceptable as per segment standards. Let me pull over to the slow lane and show you. When you hit the front brake hard, आपको थोड़ा बहुत nose dive feel होगा, but it is not something that will make you nervous. That is also because suspension travel जो है वो इतना great नहीं है. That is why the nose dive is not too much. But in terms of the stopping power, everything is acceptable. I would have wished a little bit more sharper brake bite, especially from the front brake. But then I think for the segment it is par for the course. And when you want to put the anchors down, जब आपको किसी इमरजेंसी सिचुएशन में इस बाइक को रोकना है, तभी आप इस बाइक को काफ़ी आसानी से कंट्रोल कर पाओगे. चेक दिस आउट. इफ आई वांट टू वेरी क्विकली स्टॉप दिस बाइक, it comes to a halt very safely, very securely, no tire screeching and squealing, and even the ABS doesn't intervene too much. It is not at all intrusive. So the braking performance as is good. It could have been better. इसके बाद अगला पॉइंट जिसके बारे में मैं बात करना चाहता हूँ, that is the suspension setup. इस बाइक का जो सस्पेंशन ट्यून है, it is identical to the Gixxer sibling. 120 mm of front fork suspension travel, telescopic front fork आपको मिल रहा है, and the rear has a 7-step adjustability. Overall, the ride quality is comfortable. For the highway, it is very good, very relaxing. It does have a slight firm edge to it. तो जब आप सिटी में स्लो स्पीड पे इस बाइक को चलाते हो, तभी आपको शायद से सस्पेंशन ट्यून थोड़ा फर्म लग सकता है, but it is not at all bothering me. And yesterday we were riding this bike 2 up for 2 full-sized adults weighing almost 80 kgs, 5 feet 8 inches in height. Both of us were very comfortable on this bike, and there was more than enough space as well. So the suspension has been doing a fine job in terms of offering me a comfortable ride and also offering me a dynamically rich riding experience. The suspension just allows you to attack corners very quickly, attack corners at a higher speed. और ये जो बाइक है, इट स्टेज प्लांटेड, इट डजंट मूव अराउंड टू मच, it doesn't feel too top heavy when you enter into corners, and because of that the suspension doesn't sag and bounce around too much. इसके वजह से आप ज़्यादा स्पीड कैरी कर पाओगे, इसके वजह से आप स्लो स्पीड्स पे भी ज़्यादा कॉन्फिडेंटली इस बाइक को चला पाओगे. सो दिस Suzuki V-Strom SX, this 250cc class adventure bike, like I mentioned before, it is the vanilla of this segment. There is nothing wrong, there is nothing exceptional, but then when it does everything just right, why do you want to expect more? Because what you need is what you are getting in enough proportions, in enough quantity. Check this out. When you are going to encounter corners, when you are going to, overtake slower moving cars in corners, the tires offer you good grip, and this motorcycle switches lane and tips into a corner very quickly, and hustling this bike is quite rewarding and quite fun. So as an overall package, I would give this Suzuki V-Strom SX an easy 8 on 10, and that is quite a compliment because I ride a KTM 390 Adventure on a daily basis, and still I have not found this motorcycle to be completely boring, even though it lacks outright performance in that comparison. But then that the ideal comparison is with the KTM 250 Adventure, but it has kept me happy. So if you are upgrading from a lower capacity motorcycle to this, it will definitely keep you happy as well. छोटे छोटे फाइनर डिटेल्स की अगर बात करें तो ये जो डोम सेक्शन है, ये जो फ्रंट सेक्शन है इस बाइक का, ये थोड़ा बहुत वाइब्रेट होता है एट स्लो स्पीड्स, एट लोअर रेव्स, but it is not as much as you notice on the KTM adventure bikes. It is still very well put together. कोई भी rattles नहीं है, windscreen ज़्यादा move around नहीं करती है, and this speedometer cluster even under top sun like I am riding right now, very easy to read and all the information is easy to understand as well. इस बाइक के साथ आपको एक USB चार्जिंग पॉइंट भी मिल जाता है. It is positioned over here. Check this out. यहाँ पे आपको वो पॉइंट दिया गया है. You can charge your smartphone on the go, and you can also charge your third party accessory GPS mount if you use it, but this navigation is working flawlessly, so I don't think you have to invest in that. Me as a rider, I am very happy with this bike. Will I recommend it? Definitely yes. I would recommend this over the the Adventure for sure, because that motorcycle just doesn't feel like a properly finished product. Yes, it might claim to be more adventure focused and more adventure friendly, but nobody is going all out adventure riding just as much as those claims want it to be true. This is going to be a more realistically livable motorcycle, and a more easy to live with motorcycle, and a more reliable motorcycle for sure. Of course, आप Royal Enfield की Himalayan भी consider कर सकते हो if you want that extra bit of grunt and torque, and if you want that extra bit of off-road credentials. But then that motorcycle is quite heavy in this comparison, and then you will have to fight that bike. यहाँ पे आप इस बाइक को इतने effortlessly चला पाओगे. It can be your first day on this bike and you will feel like you have had this for months. It is just that easy. अगर product finishing की बात करें, in terms of the product attributes, you are getting almost all the features that you need from an adventure bike. इस बाइक के साथ आपको जो टेल माउंट दिया गया है, जो पिलियन ग्रैब रेल के साथ इंटीग्रेटेड आपको रैक दिया गया है, वहाँ पे आप टॉप बॉक्स भी इजीली माउंट कर पाओगे. So that makes this motorcycle that little bit more versatile. Also the seats are very accommodating. Pillion seat भी काफ़ी wide है. So on that pillion seat you can very easily A, have a pillion, or B, have your roll top bag easily mounted over there. And still for you as a rider, आपको riding seat पे कोई भी compromise feel नहीं होगा. There will be more than enough room for you to even wear your backpack. So this is a very spacious motorcycle as well. Photographs में शायद से आपको ये मोटरसाइकिल थोड़ी छोटी लग सकती है, but in the real world it does have enough road presence and the size is respectable too. Check this out, stuck in traffic. Ambient temperature is over 35 degrees. It is monsoon season, but it is a rather sunny day today. गर्मी काफ़ी है, लेकिन engine heat जो है मुझे मेरे पैरों पे feel नहीं हो रही है. And this is very, very comfortable. So, you know, your engine is not going to be stressed if you go out on a long ride and if you go out on a long, fast ride. इस बाइक की जो ऑयल कूलिंग टेक्नोलॉजी है, it is best in class. It is superior to any other oil cooled motorcycle in its class. It mimics liquid cooling, and the oil cooler also has a fan, so your engine is going to run cooler on those long riding hours. So that also adds in making this motor stress free, and because of that you will not require stops to let your engine cool so that you could enjoy your ride. So everything is very well rounded off on this motorcycle. Everything just feels fine. It doesn't feel best in class, but it is par for the course for sure. Right now, just have a look at this. I am on a city highway. I am at the Palm Beach Road in Navi Mumbai. Dropping gears, very sleek gearbox, not a single false shift. ये गियरबॉक्स जो है इतना बढ़िया काम करता है, एक भी बार आपको कोई फॉल्स शिफ्ट फील नहीं होगा. देयर वाज नो फॉल्स न्यूट्रल ईदर, एंड इट जस्ट परफॉर्म्स ब्रिलियंटली. Yes, it is a 6-speed unit, so it is superior to the Yamaha FZ25, which just gets a 5-speed gearbox. I don't know why Yamaha doesn't give you a 6-speed unit on that 250cc engine. So this V-Strom SX is a superior package to the Yamaha 250cc option that you can buy here in the Indian market. Overall, at a standstill on a hot sunny day, the engine feels smooth, refined, ज़्यादा pulsation feel नहीं हो रहा है मुझे. And the thing that I want you to notice is that only when you rev the motor is when you hear the exhaust. Otherwise आपको सिर्फ engine sound सुनाई देता है. Exhaust का आपको ज़्यादा आवाज़ सुनाई नहीं देगा. There is no exhaust note that you can hear. सिटी में जब आप इस बाइक को चलाने वाले हो, there is more than enough overtaking power, there is more than enough grunt that is available. You can upshift to a higher gear at lower speed very easily. Check this out. I am going to short shift and get to the 6th gear very soon. Have a look at this. 50, now at 60, and now I am in 6th gear. 6th gear, 60 kmph. No problems at all, no hesitation at all. If you want to slow down further, check this out. I am letting the speed drop. I am staying in 6th gear. I am now at 50 kmph. When I open the throttle, very slight hesitation, but then it picks up pace very easily. And when you do this, when you try to pick up pace from a low rev on a higher gear, आपको वो डोम वाइब्रेशन ज़रूर दिखाई देगा, ज़रूर फील होगा. बट देन इट इज़ जस्ट वेल पुट टुगेदर, इट इज़ वेल बोल्टेड, सो यू नो इट डजंट मूव अराउंड टू मच. चेक दिस आउट. अंडर 50 kmph in 6th gear, opening up the gas, and just have a look at the speed readout. The in-gear acceleration, the roll-on acceleration, even in top gear, is reasonable and respectable for you to ride this bike inside the city. When you want to make your way through traffic, it is a very easy motorcycle to understand and manage, and you can very quickly slice through traffic and then make your way ahead. So there is nothing not to like on this motorcycle. It is just that you have to keep your expectations in check. So guys, that is it. That is all that I want to share with you about this Suzuki V-Strom SX. I like this motorcycle and I will definitely recommend it. Yes, the price is slightly on the higher side, but for the price you are getting reasonable kit. And the biggest highlight is that this motor is very, very refined. It is very, very smooth. Ride it inside the city, it has enough grunt. Ride it out on the highway, it has enough pulling power too. And the mileage figure is also quite respectable. Right now, after riding it fast for a while, the mileage has dropped to 37 kmpl, but 35 के ऊपर का अगर आपको माइलेज मिल रहा है इस 250cc इंजन के साथ, आई थिंक इट इज़ अ रिस्पेक्टेबल नंबर. तो अगर आपके और कोई सवाल हैं इस बाइक के बारे में, डू आस्क मी, आई विल ट्राई माई बेस्ट टू हेल्प यू आउट. गुड बाय गाइज, ऑलवेज राइड सेफ, always wear proper riding gear. Even though you see us doing high speed test rides, it is for you to understand the motorcycle, it is for you to understand the capability of the motorcycle. We do not encourage you to ride hard and fast until and unless it is really safe and the speed limits allow you to do it. Goodbye, see you soon, and always wear a helmet.